Welcome to the Tearsheet podcast, where we explore financial services together with an eye on technology, innovation, emerging models, and changing expectations. I'm Tearsheet Editor-in-Chief, Zach Miller. Non-bank financial institutions are capturing more and more market share in SME lending, primarily by leveraging technology to offer quicker lending solutions. And this puts pressure on FIs to evolve their approaches while also managing costs and improving service quality. Finastra's Principal Product Manager, Kristen Lista, joins me on the podcast today to discuss the most critical areas where FIs need to focus: consolidating technology to improve efficiency, decreasing the time between application and access to funding, enhancing back office operations, and creating more client-centric experiences. And Lista offers a valuable look inside the complex web of challenges that FIs face when trying to improve their SME lending products. From technology integration strategies to practical advice on process management, Lista offers an actionable blueprint that can help FIs better compete in the SME lending space, driving both growth and customer loyalty. So, Kristen, given your perspective of the industry, can you give us an idea of what challenges FIs are facing in the SME lending space?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of challenges, obviously, but I'm going to kind of highlight a couple here today. So traditional FIs really are struggling to compete with non-bank financial institutions, or known as NBFIs, right, in the SME lending space. Because really, NBFIs really leverage technology to offer faster, more flexible lending solutions. And so another challenge that FIs face is a tighter cost basis in the SME lending space, which means they need to find ways to reduce costs without compromising service quality, which is very tough to do. There's also a pressing need for technical consolidation to make sure that they're improving efficiency and making better use of their internal resources to service the SME market. So there's really an opportunity and a need for FIs to grow into different asset classes as well, and such as moving from SME lending into commercial and syndicated lending, which can help FIs diversify their risk and open new revenue streams. So really, there's a direct need for lending technologies that can accommodate loans for SMEs in this space, all the way up through corporate lending as well.
We've been following the space for a long time, and I feel like there's we're never done with how much opportunity there is to service SMEs better. I was wondering if you can zoom out a bit, Kristen, and give us a bit of an idea of what barriers SMEs face when it comes to accessing liquidity and funding.
Yeah, well, really, there's just one important, persistent issue, and it's simply SMEs need fast and easy access to finance, right? So they really struggle with that for a number of issues. SMEs typically have limited credit history. They may lack collateral to securitize the loan, and really they're perceived as high risk by financial institutions. So from an FI perspective, however, the time to say yes is often very long because of those reasons. And SMEs need a faster digital offering to get to that yes much quicker and obtain the funding that they need. So to overcome these barriers, FIs have to innovate and embrace digital transformation. And that helps to provide faster, more efficient lending decisions, and ultimately getting to that time to say yes much quicker to provide for the SMEs funding needs.
We always hear that cash is king, and time to cash is of the most importance. So I want to double click on the FI's role. What role can FIs play in helping SMEs get faster access to funds, and how can they formulate a more positive customer experience?
Yeah, so really, customer experience is key, and we're going to certainly chat about that more today. But really, for FIs, they really, in order to make a significant impact, they have to invest in modern technology to quickly validate, the SME lending process a little more efficiently. And what I mean by validating, for example, is when SMEs submit financial statements or tax returns, right? There's automation or ways to automate validating those financial statements, which can extremely speed up that lending process. There's also through the underwriting process, there's automated underwriting and risk models that can come into play to help, drive faster decision making, but also can make sure that the decision making is fair and consistent at the same time. And they should focus on also improving their loan servicing capabilities, right? Loan servicing is something that happens once the loan is booked and funded, and it's kind of an afterthought in digital transformation, but it really can't be an afterthought anymore. Loan servicing capabilities have to have that digital transformation as well and provide for better communication, transparency with their clients, and also offering a user-friendly interface or digital platform where SMEs can actually self-service as well. That's key to all this as well.
So you've established the opportunity, Kristen, and talked about what FIs can do. But I'm kind of curious, asking that question a little bit differently. So given that there is so much opportunity to improve in the space, like what's holding FIs back from implementing these solutions for SME customers?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, right now, I guess historically, FIs really haven't focused on, like I said, the back office servicing operations of the SME lending process. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Primarily, they've been underfunded, right? Because banks thought that the back office was not revenue generating. And so they would really focus their resources and their budget going towards client-facing systems, which is really, really good, right? But there's a flip side to this. There's also the need to put that budget and resources also to the back office, because FIs are quickly realizing that quick execution in the back office can also impact the customer experience as well. And so what they're faced with in the back office is typically old, outdated, legacy platforms that they have to utilize to service their SME customers. And they also have a lot of regulatory constraints that pose a lot of challenges for them in the back office. So I think that's a big shift, right, that FIs are recognizing. So making that investment in the back office improvements is essential, really, for creating an agile and more responsive environment. And so, when they have those restrictions on budget and resources, they also can look at consolidating their tech stacks and reducing their total cost of ownership. That's really important too, because if they reduce those tech costs, right, that provides for more budget to purchase the right solutions and spend that budget on digital innovation, for instance.
That makes a lot of sense. And as you were saying that, like understanding that you can make it a fancy, shiny new front end, but without actually working on the back end, the service delivery is going to be the same.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about growth. And given the competitive landscape, what can FIs do to ensure they retain and are able to grow their customer bases?
Yeah, so there's several key strategies that I really want to talk about today around this topic. But, we talked a little bit about client centricity, right? And that is key to this digital transformation space and competitive landscape that we're living in today. So being client centric is really, really important to put at the forefront of all digital transformation decisions. So there's a couple of key strategies when you're thinking about client centricity that's really important. So I want to note those today. First and foremost is customer loyalty. So being client centric and enjoying and having your customers enjoy the interaction with their financial institution is key. Making sure that you're creating positive customer experiences, that's really important through technology because over 2/3 of customer loyalty, which is greater than the loyalty driven by both brand and price combined, can really, really help, accelerate customer loyalty and retention. Another strategy I want to share is competitive advantage, right? So FIs have to have a competitive advantage, as we talked, against NBFIs, right? So lenders, of course, that focus on these client-centric strategies can achieve growth, right? Sustainable growth and a competitive edge against NBFIs. So they really need to understand and anticipate the needs of the SME market and their borrowers and tailor to those needs effectively. So the other piece I want to hit on is all about growing revenue, right? So typically SME loans, they're lower value loans to an FI, but they're higher in volume, right? There's more of them. So in order to be able to grow their revenue, they have to prioritize the customer experience to get that retention and loyalty. And if they do that, they may see an approximate 2.5 times increase in their revenue growth compared to those who do not prioritize customer centricity. So investing in these types of initiatives and the corresponding technology that enables that client centricity can really drive substantial financial performance improvements. And the last point that I really want to highlight is about looking across the digital end-to-end lending ecosystem. That is super, super important to this whole digital transformation process and making sure that it meets SME expectations. So looking at your holistic ecosystem is not only about just looking at the technology, but it's about looking at your processes, making sure that your processes are aligned and streamlined. And it's also not just about client centricity, it's about providing solutions to the employees who are servicing the loans, giving them an enhanced UI UX so you can reduce manual touch points, and again, leverage automation to ultimately service that client with great efficiency and accuracy.
I appreciate that. It feels like you just laid out a growth playbook here. So I have my homework to review.
Yes.
So let's go a little deeper in this integrated lending ecosystem that you're talking about. So you've mentioned the need for FIs to have a consolidated integrated lending ecosystem to meet SME borrowers' expectations. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what specific components you would recommend that this ecosystem include?
Yeah, so just to clarify, when we're talking about an ecosystem and that end-to-end process, we're talking from borrower initiation all the way through servicing and termination of the loan. And so that's a pretty long life cycle, right, to go through. And so there's a lot of systems that cover across those loan life cycle phases, as I like to call them. So I'm going to highlight a few of those for our viewers today. So key systems that you should look at is customer portals, your borrower portals. You should be looking across the ecosystem at KYC, AML systems, loan origination systems, loan documentation systems, and of course, your loan servicing system. And when looking across that ecosystem at these various technologies, it's important to look at what they're doing, what the purpose is, but also how do you automate and integrate these systems together and piece them together in an automated way throughout the ecosystem. And that can be challenging. But when you do that, you streamline again the operations, the functionality, and ultimately you provide a better experience for your SME borrowers. So a few components, again, that I mentioned here today in the ecosystem, I'd like to unpack that a little more in detail and why it's so important and beneficial to take FIs through this digital transformation process. So when we talk about customer portals, these should be user-friendly and provide SMEs with easy access to their loan applications, providing them status updates, and also once the loan is approved, funded, and booked to the servicing system, it allows them to self-service on servicing activities, such as making a payment or initiating advances. So a customer portal is really key to the ecosystem. The other system that I touched upon was KYC AML. And I'm sure a lot of FIs may say, well, why is that important to the borrower experience? Because borrowers do not interact with KYC AML systems. But however, KYC and AML is about compliance, and there's some robust compliance requirements that FIs have to make sure that they have controls embedded in the lending process. And if they don't have smooth transitions from a portal to a KYC system, for example, the borrower is going to feel the delay and the impact. So you really want to make sure that those internal compliance systems flow very nicely through the ecosystem to ultimately expedite the SME lending process. The other system that I touched on was a loan origination system. And this is really a big system that handles everything from the application through the underwriting to the approval process. So it's a key system. And also underneath of that origination system usually sits financial spreading and automated underwriting systems. And they're usually integrated pretty seamlessly. And a financial spreading system really allows for quick and accurate processing of financial data, such as tax returns and financial statements. But it also helps underwriters to not have a lot of errors in their financial analysis, and it ensures that all credit assessments are done consistently. So then I want to talk about the loan documentation system. That is, once the loan is approved by the underwriting team, then the loan needs to be documented, right? That's where they document the credit agreement or the note that the SME borrower must sign. It's really the promise to pay the loan back under certain terms and conditions. And so a loan documentation system really ingests data from the loan origination system, and those documents are created accurately per the approval of the financial institution. And then the last piece that I wanted to touch on is, of course, the loan servicing system. And this is really the system of record once the loan is closed and funded, and that's where the loan will sit for the remainder of the loan or the life of the loan. And so servicing, again, effectively is key, and integrating your servicing systems with your upstream and downstream systems helps to manage effectively a client's servicing requests, such as managing repayments, tracking loan performance, and handling any issues that might arise during the loan term. So really, in summary, what I'd like to say is that it's important to consider all of these systems across the loan life cycle, but it's also important to not only look at the systems, but consolidate the systems across various segments from SME lending, commercial lending, and corporate lending. And that, again, helps with reducing the FI's total cost of ownership.
I want to shift gears and look a little bit more at Finastra now. And in terms of technology partnerships and relationships, what kind of integrations does Finastra offer that can give FIs an edge with SME customers?
Yeah, so great question, and happy to answer. Finastra offers a lot of solutions to enable this consolidated and streamlined end-to-end ecosystem that I'm speaking about today. It really helps FIs, our products help FIs to digitally transform their ecosystems to provide those right SME offerings and mirror up with their demands or their demands and expectations. So we have a couple of products partnered with Loan IQ within Finastra that offer a loan portal, for example. Our corporate channels division offers a loan portal, which is what I spoke about earlier. And then we also have a partner product known as Finastra Laser Pro Lending, which is a loan documentation system that again I spoke about earlier as well. So those two products are kind of sister products to Loan IQ and our suite of products. But then additionally within Loan IQ, we have Loan IQ Nexus, which is our market integration layer product that enables that automation and integration within the ecosystem that I spoke about. And it directly then would pull all that upstream and downstream data into Loan IQ. And then we also have, of course, Loan IQ Simplified Servicing, and that provides that fresh UI UX experience that I'm talking about for back office personnel that's highly needed to effectively service SMEs. And then, of course, we have our classic Loan IQ product, which can service more complex commercial and corporate loans as well. We are also very client-centric here at Finastra within our products, and we want to make sure that the solutions that we provide are based on market research, insights within market research, and client insights to provide solutions that will help FIs successfully transform into this digital age. The last thing I want to just say is simplified servicing really, as I said, is that modern, holistic, web-based version of Loan IQ. And it's really designed to cover the three essential components of SME servicing. And that would be onboarding and maintaining the loans from the SMEs, servicing them, and then also managing collateral as well. And it's all done in this nice, new, fresh, modern UI UX product as well.
One thing I'd like to end with, Kristen, is like one thing that's clear whenever we talk about transformation is like every institution's, at a different timeline and where they are in terms of their own transformation. So I'm curious, we'll end with this, what advice you would give to financial institutions that are just starting their lending modernization journey?
Yeah, so I have a lot of experience with this. I'm a long-term banker myself. I've also been a product manager for many years, and I've also been a digital lending transformation strategist. So I've really seen firsthand what it takes to succeed in this digital age. And it's definitely not an easy task, but certainly something that FIs must do. And so just a couple of key points and some advice I'd like to share with the group is that they, again, must not only look at the technology, but they also must integrate their people and processes within this within the technology as well. So they really need to look at people, process, and technology. And from a people standpoint, what this means is fostering a culture, right? It's a culture thing that you must foster digital innovation and look to create new roles focused on digital strategy, digital enablement, and enhancing also collaboration across business segments, right? The front office, the back office, the middle office, and also working with their IT departments as well and their technology departments internally. That collaboration is key. Another key item I'd like to leave the group with today is automation. That is key. You want to automate where you can and reduce manual touch points overall. This certainly enables a better SME lending experience. And then technology modernization is also essential. You need to select technology that's going to be scalable and future-proof through this, assessment of digital transformation. Another thing that you need to do through this process is really take a hard look at your current ecosystem. And when I say take a hard look, be honest, right? And say, if we were to double our assets under management today, could our current state ecosystem sustain that growth? Probably the answer is going to be no, right? And so that's an indicator to say we really need to work on digital transformation and streamline and digitize where we can and consolidate, quite frankly, as well. So what I'd really like to leave everyone with today is that we understand these challenges here at Finastra. We understand the digital transformation, and our lending products certainly support this advice. We offer solutions to help you consolidate and streamline your SME end-to-end lending ecosystem. And our simplified servicing Loan IQ product is designed to meet the diverse needs of SME lending, also commercial lending and corporate lending. So we're really, really excited about some of these new products, including simplified servicing, to help FIs through this process.
Kristen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining us on the Tearsheet podcast today.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.